kanina na nabanggit din si VP Sara doon sa possible ongoing sa ICC, hindi po ba magkakaroon ng push and pull kung kunwari kailangan nilang pumunta doon sa The Hague or kailangan siyang nandoon tapos mayroong ongoing impeachment dito sa Pilipinas?
Well, kagaya po nung nabanggit ko, kung sakasakaling ganun po, I think kung ganun na mangyayari, magkakaroon po talaga ng pagka-delay or magkakaroon tayo ng medyo problema dito sa impeachment.
Sige sir, yun na lang po muna on my...
Before Mela, Marian Enriquez from TV5.
Sir, follow-up lang po sa ICC and yung possible involvement nga po ni VP Sara regarding that. And we also know po, nakalatag po sa articles of impeachment natin.
Hello po mga ka-viral and welcome back again to this YouTube channel. Latest update na naman tayo ngayon. VP Sara Duterte nanginig ng malaman na siya din ang isusunod ng ICC or International Criminal Court. Matibay di umano ang hawak ng mga ebidensya laban kay VP Sara Duterte na isa siya sa makasali sa kasong crime against humanity na hinahabol ngayon ng ICC dahil sa libu-libong katao na biktima ng AJK at Oplan Tokhang ng nagdaang administrasyon. Samantala, Supreme Court ay may hatol na hinggil sa apela ng mga abogado ni PRRD na sina Atty. Panelo at anak ni PRRD na si Kitty Duterte hinggil sa pagpapabalik kay PRRD mula sa bansang Hague, the Netherlands, pabalik sa Pilipinas. Kahapon lamang ay ginulat ang sambayan ng Pilipino sa biglaang pag-aresto ng Interpol through PNP or Philippine National Police paglapag dito sa NAIYAK kay PRRD mula sa pagbisita nito sa mga OFW sa Hong Kong. Dinala sa Hague, the Netherlands ang former president upang doon haharap sa mga kaso kaugnay sa crime against humanity. Samantala, nakahanda na di umano ang Kongreso hinggil sa impeachment ni VP Sara kung ito ay ipapa-aresto din ng ICC. Ayon kay PBBM ay sinunod lamang nila ang proper procedure ng Interpol through cooperation of the Philippine National Police hinggil sa pagpapasurrender kay former president na isa sa mga individual na nasa listahan ng ICC or International Criminal Court.
Hapon po. Attorney Jill Bungalon, sir, will you please enlighten us, non-lawyers, regarding doon sa contention ng legal panel ni former President Duterte. Kaya sila nag-file ng petition for certiorari and TRO and now habeas corpus sa Supreme Court na nagkaroon daw ng procedural lapses doon sa execution ng arrest warrant from ICC kasi supposed to be daw, even Senator Cayetano, sinabi niya na yung arrest warrant ay dapat i-validate pa ng local competent court before na i-execute.
Okay. With respect to that issue, no, I haven't read their petition, no, petition for certiorari and the petition for writ of habeas corpus. But, well, I assume that their contention is that there were procedural lapses in the implementation of the warrant, number one, because according to them, probably the Philippines should not recognize that warrant, no, because we are no longer a party or a member under the Rome Statute. So, yun yung sinasabi nila. Well, my understanding of this issue is that the warrant of arrest was validly issued by the International Tribunal, particularly the ICC. And although the Philippines is not a member, is no longer a member of the Rome Statute, but the warrant of arrest was coursed through the Interpol, no, of which our country, the Philippines, is a long-time member of this organization. And under that, we are duty-bound, we are under-obligated to effect and implement the warrant. So, being a member, meron ho tayong obligasyon, no, na through our Philippine National Police or the law enforcement agencies to implement and effect the warrant. So ginawa lang naman ng ating pong gobyerno yung kanilang trabaho na with the issuance of the warrant of arrest, kailangan nila po yun i-serve kay Pangulong Duterte. At yung sa petition for writ of habeas corpus, of course, they really want the body of President Duterte, to be returned in this country. But I guess it should be a matter that the Supreme Court should decide. And also, there are legal remedies available on the part of the respondent, on the part of President Duterte. So probably they can file a motion or a petition with the ICC, considering that in a few hours, of course, the president will be turned over to the authorities of the ICC, which has the jurisdiction over the case. And yun po yung mga kailangan natin abangan. And again, as mentioned nga, this is unprecedented. Hindi pa to nangyari before eh. And that is why, well, once and for all, for the Supreme Court to decide with respect to that issue, regarding that procedural lapses. And of course, hindi yung fact na kailangan po i-validate, by being a member of the Interpol, of course, as part of the global community, we should cooperate with respect to transnational crimes like terrorism, cyber crimes, hijacking, human trafficking. So these are crimes that are being committed across the country. For instance, let me illustrate. What if a particular individual, a foreign individual, committed a serious crime, for instance, crimes against humanity, in a particular foreign country, at yung akusadong yon lumipad dito sa ating bansa, to seek, probably para makapag-evade ng justice, para magtago, and the ICC issued a warrant, for that arrest of that particular person. So, ano bang gusto mong ibig sabihin? Hindi ba kikibo ang ating pong bansa na hulihin ang isang individual na gumawa ng isang seryosong krimen sa ibang bansa? So, magiging pangit ang implikasyon nito. Baka isipin ng mga mamamayan o na ibang mga neighboring countries na baka magiging safe haven for criminals itong ating bansa if we will not comply with our obligation under Interpol. So again, we have to respect the legal process. We have to trust the legal process. So yun po yung aking komento patungkol po dyan.
Another question, Attorney Jill, regarding impeachment. Sir, can you confirm na based on the information from the Senate, na supposed to be this day, magkakaroon kayo ng ocular inspection mismo doon sa nire-request nyo na room assignment, pero pinospone daw kasi this afternoon magmi-meeting uli ang prosecution panel regarding the next move on the impeachment against the Vice President after the arrest of former President Duterte.
Well, probably an official request was already sent to the Senate, for us to asking the Senate, through the Senate President, na bigyan po kami ng isang kwarto, in anticipation for the trial, wherein doon ho kami tutuloy at doon yung mga paghahanda na gagawin namin bago po magsimula ang impeachment trial. Pero kami pong mga public prosecutors, together with the private prosecutors, ay nagkaroon po ng pag-meeting kahapon. At ganun pa din yung aming pong paghahanda sa magiging impeachment trial. Of course, yung division of labor or yung assignment of task were already given to the respective members of the prosecution panel. Let's wait and see what would be the next move of the prosecutors dito pong mga darating na araw. But then again, if given the chance, mabuti na din po na magkaroon kami ng pagkakataon na makabisita, at least parte po ng aming preparasyon yan sa aming trial. We have to be familiarized with the environment wherein doon po mangyayari yung trial. So parte po yung ng aming pong mga preparasyon. Wala ho kaming meeting ngayong hapon.
Thank you, Vic. Janes Capanti from GMA Online.
Good afternoon, sir. About, nabanggit din kasi ni Kong Jude to kanina, yung Pangilinan versus Cayetano na ruling of the Supreme Court, stating that the Philippines is still obligated to cooperate with ICC proceedings provided that yung alleged crimes happened during when we were still a party to the Rome Statute, and the complaint was filed, the proceedings were initiated prior to the withdrawal. Given this Supreme Court decision, do you think the Marcos government stands on solid legal ground in effecting the arrest?
Well, I think as just to be consistent with what the president said, no, he cooperated with the Interpol, taking into consideration that we have our own obligations to the Interpol, which are separate with that our obligation to the ICC, and I think that alone is already a solid, without even solid basis, without even having to appeal to the jurisprudence set by Pangilinan versus Cayetano, no, dun pa lang may kuan na. Kasi just dadagdag ko lang yung sinabi ni Kong Jill. Maraming, like for example, maraming mga Pilipino ang nasasangkot o di kaya naging biktima ng human trafficking, for example. At marami dito, especially when you talk about transnational crime, ang main actor talaga dito, Interpol. And I think that justifies significantly the need to cooperate with the Interpol in this regard. But nonetheless, even without that, had the administration chose to follow, to apply the provision, to cite the provisions of the decision ng Pangilinan versus Cayetano, that would have bolstered the position of the administration. But even if we don't go there, the decision itself to cooperate with the Interpol provides already a solid foundation, a solid ground for the Marcos administration to take due course, to take the course of action that they have done yesterday.
Kung may additional. Sir, kayo. Others po baka may additional.
Yes, we have to remember that the decisions of the Supreme Court form parts of the law of the land. So with that, the administration has a strong legal ground when, of course, they cooperated, no, with the implementation of the warrant by virtue of being a member of the Interpol, not because we are a member of the ICC. So I think that's clear, no, to everyone. The action was made not because we are a member of the ICC, but because we are a member of the Interpol, and under that, we are duty bound, to act. Of course, we have to maintain our diplomatic relations with other countries. What if, on our side, mangyari din yung ganitong bagay? We want a fugitive, no, who is hiding in other country, and we want that fugitive to be taken. So, of course, we will expect to that particular country to do the same, no, to cooperate, to arrest that particular person and bring that to justice and face the trial in court here or in the International Tribunal.
Second question ko po. The PNP has placed its regional offices and national support units under heightened alert after concerns of potential civil unrest rallies and mass actions following the recent arrest of the former president. Do you find this necessary? Or because other camps are, interpreting this as, sign of, being afraid of the supporters of the former president? Is this necessary, placing PNP units under heightened alert?
I think it's just standard protocol. Kasi when emotions are high, syempre, kailangan nating lagyan ng presence para to make sure that law and order is upheld.
May add si sir. May add pa kayo, sir. Okay na. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Lines Capanti. Sandro Ochona from Billionario TV.
Sirs,
Balikan ko lang yung question ni Dwight kanina. Is it possible na kaya nangyari yung nangyari kahapon because Duterte was a victim of his own wrong pronouncements? Una, yung hurrying up yung sa ICC during the Quadcom. And then yung pagkala sa ICC, kaya hindi siya pwedeng makulong dito because we're no longer a member state.
Mahirap naman kasi ang sabi ko nga, nasa korte po talaga yan. So ang hirap din naman na yung accused, ididiin mo. Siyempre may biktima dyan. Parang ang dating, sila nga ngayon yung biktima. Pero sabi ko nga, nasa ICC na yan. I believe during the Quadcom.
District Representative Jervil Luistro. Representative Luistro, good morning.
Good morning, Karen, and thank you for having me again in your program.
I know, are you starting the campaign already?
This has been my routine since my day one of becoming a congresswoman. So whether with election or otherwise, ito po yung ating trabaho talaga whenever we are in the district here in Batangas. Conducting our regular preparation towards the impeachment trial. We are having this posture of pushing the impeachment trial earlier than pronounced by the Senate President. And we continue to hope that with the other sectors of the Philippines pushing for an earlier impeachment trial, we're hoping that the Senate will change its mind and consider the clamor of the Filipino people to have the impeachment trial even before election.
Okay, but is there a clamor? You heard the report. It seems that in a new survey, 43% of Filipinos don't want the impeachment trial.
In as far as I am concerned, Karen, I am here in the district. Most of the time I am with the constituents. And a lot of people are asking really, when are we going to start with the impeachment trial? I also asked my colleagues in the House, my fellow prosecutors, and they told me that their constituents in their respective districts have the same sentiments and inclination. So in as far as the prosec team is concerned, Karen, we honestly believe that there's really a clamor from the part of the public to proceed with the impeachment trial right away. In addition to that, Karen, we can see from the news, various sectors and groups, and even prominent political figures and legal experts pushing for an earlier impeachment trial. So yes, Karen, I believe that there is a clamor.
Now, former Senate President Franklin Drilon said it is within President Marcos Jr.'s power. It's within the president's power to actually call for a special session. Why do you think is he not calling for one?
Well, I cannot speak for the president, Karen, pero I can surmise that it's because he adhered to the principle of separation of power. He understands that the impeachment is a concern which rests exclusively to the jurisdiction of the impeachment court. So even considering that the president can call any time for a special session, he's maintaining his position that it should be the Senate which should decide whether to push right now or on a later date as pronounced by the Senate President.
Now, you don't think that politics has everything to do with it?
Well, if you're referring to the timeline which is being proposed by the senators, I think just like any other politician who are seeking for a re-election, I think that is one consideration also, whether they will be getting the support of the pro-Duterte or otherwise. That is one consideration. Plus, we have to consider also the stand of the Iglesia ni Cristo as has been manifested already in the previous occurrences, and of course the time which we need to dedicate to this campaign in preparation for the election. We understand that mas malaki yung pangangailangan for preparation ng mga senador kumpara sa mga congressmen because we're taking care only of our respective districts compared to the senators who are running to national position. They need to move around the entire country, Karen. And if we will be considering the absentee voting, kailangan din nilang mangampanya even overseas with regards to the OFWs and the migrant workers, Karen.
Okay, now hearing everything that you just brought up, looking back, was it wise for the House leadership to actually impeach Vice President Sara Duterte right before elections? Could it have been planned? Were you caught by surprise? Were you caught by surprise?
We were not caught by surprise, Karen. No, our appreciation of what we did is we are addressing a constitutional duty that we really have to take. May election o wala, Karen, it is our mandate to push this impeachment complaint if we really find basis to push for one, no? So I think with what happened to us, we did not consider anymore the upcoming election. What we did consider is our constitutional duty to transmit this impeachment complaint, especially we have reached the consensus of the 215 members of the House. And we've seen the basis, the clear basis why we are pushing for this impeachment complaint. So with or without election, Karen, it is the constitutional duty that we really have to take, Karen.
Okay. Now, with this timeline, Senate President Cheese Escudero announcing that the trial will be starting July 30. That is 4 to 5 months from now. Have you already accepted this, the prosecution team?
Well, we are maintaining our position, Karen, that we are pushing for an earlier impeachment trial, no? As a matter of fact, we continue with our preparation. We have our respective assignments already, and as far as the article of impeachment is concerned, no? We understand, Karen, na iba yung mandato ng Senate because they will be sitting as impeachment court judges. Iba yung mandato namin who will be taking care of the prosecution of the impeachment case. And in as far as we are concerned, in spite of the pronouncement of the Senate President, we are maintaining this posture for an earlier impeachment trial. So what we need to do, we are really doing in preparation for what we are anticipating, the impeachment trial, which we hope will come earlier than pronounced by the Senate President.
I'm curious, what is your understanding of the Constitution? Drilon says the President can call for a special session. Then now Senate President Escudero said only the Supreme Court can compel the Senate in recess to convene as an impeachment court. What are your thoughts?
I think, Karen, the disparity in the opinion lies between whether pushing this impeachment falls within the legislative function or the impeachment function of the Senate. I heard the pronouncement of the Senate President. He is maintaining the position that a session is needed to be able to convene as an impeachment court, approve the rules, amend the rules when necessary. However, there are other legal experts who says that legislative session is not actually needed because impeachment process is outside the legislative function of the Senate, which means with or without session, they can anytime convene as an impeachment court. The view of then Senate President Drilon pertains to the discretion of the President to call a special session, which is a separate and independent way for us to be able to convene in a legislative process, which in consonance with the opinion of the Senate President is needed to be able to convene as an impeachment court and approve their respective rules, no? Parang tatlong separate views to, Karen, eh. One, kailangan yung legislative session to be able to convene as an impeachment court. I think this is the position of the Senate President. For the other legal experts, no need for legislative session because impeachment is different from legislative function. Kung hindi magkasundo dito sa dalawang to, here comes the pronouncement of Senate President Relon, the former Senate President. Pwede naman ng presidente mismo ang tumawag ng special session just to make it consistent with the view of the Senate President Chis Escudero na kailangan ang session for us to be able to convene an impeachment court and approve the rules needed for the impeachment trial. These are three different views, but at the end of the day, Karen, no, constitutional duty to. So I think we have to address this concern with haste without any delay.
Okay, my last question, what's your take with the Vice President hinting on a 2028 run?
I think that is not a surprise.
Intentional or I don't know, violation. Parang harsh naman kaagad to come at that judgment, ano? Our dear friend, Senator Chis Escudero, is a brilliant lawyer and he does his own studying. We may differ in our opinions, but still, yun na nga, umaasa pa rin kami from the House of Representatives for maybe a different interpretation. Anyway, they came up with a special order, nakasaad na nga yung calendar nila sa aming panlasa, sana nga mas maaga, no? Pero katulad nga ng sinabi ko, baka may mga practical considerations that come into place. Ako lang naman to, baka personal opinion, yung aking intuition. But I'm not saying it's true. I can't read people's minds, basically. So, mawala ng lahat, wag lang ang pakiramdam. Pero, nandiyan pa rin ang pag-asa. Mawala rin lahat, wag lang ang pag-asa na pakikinggan nila ang aming suggestion.
Sige, thank you po. Mag-shift lang po ako sa another topic kasi po si TML Ortega, meron po kayong nirelease na statement this morning saying Palawan is at risk if China-funded candidates will win the elections. Can you elaborate and what made you say so po?
Nakita po natin na ang dami na namang kumakalat na nagsasalita na sinasabi na naman nila, they're claiming na pagmamayari na naman nila yung Palawan. Nako, isa na yan sa pinakamalaking fake news sa araw na to. So, nakakalungkot. That's why sabi ko nga po dun sa stand natin na hindi pwede naman na hindi pro-Pilipinas yung mga iboboto natin na senador. Kailangan yung malasakit saka yung dedikasyon nila para sa bansa. Napakaklaro naman po yan. Kaya yung mga medyo tikom dyan,